Welcome to Face Mask Basics. And I'm Cindy Crossman, and I'm the Registered Nurse Educator at Mount Allison University, and I'll be moderating this session. First, I want to tell you the information that I'm going to share with you today is being presented from a couple of different areas, one from the New Brunswick Provincial Guidelines and another from Mount Allison University Guidelines. So the first one I'm going to start with is just about the provincial guidelines in New Brunswick. They talk about face masks being required in public when physical distancing cannot be maintained. And that means when you can't maintain your 6 feet or your 2 meters, then you're required to wear a face mask. Those individuals that can wear a face mask should wear them as much as possible. I'm going to really focus today on some should and should nots and general mask use to make things a little easier for getting used to the new normal of wearing face masks. First of all, the concept about the masks, there's lots of discussion about it and about whose benefit is wearing it and those types of things. And I just want to reinforce that wearing the face mask can prevent respiratory droplets from contaminating others or landing on surfaces. They do not protect the wearer. What protects the face mask wearer, is the social distancing and the regular hand washing. Those are essential throughout this pandemic. It's really important to really think about maintaining that social distancing when you're talking with colleagues and friends, and also the importance of hand washing many times a day. And if you don't have access to soap and water, the hand sanitizer will do as well. But it's important to be doing those two things and thinking about them on a regular basis. Now, let's talk a little bit about masks at Mount Allison in particular. So, new guidelines on the university campus about wearing non-medical masks and that they're mandatory on campus. Even though we've already discussed the New Brunswick guidelines, these are the guidelines within the campus community. And even further, the campus community has gone really to do a nice job, I believe, at designing what campus will look like when students arrive in the fall for classes. It's a video put together by some academics and different other interdisciplinary departments talking about mask use, what the classroom will look like, extra sanitizing on campus, and those things. So I'm going to show you the video and let that play now.
The thing that's different about this year in COVID is everything. So delivery is going to be completely different. And for large group things, that's going to be done online. So there's going to be access, which is going to be good for students because the access will be sort of 24/7, which will allow students whose schedules may be interrupted due to illness or other things to access the material when they're ready to access it.
Over the past months, we've gone through every building and we've done an assessment of thinking through what the safest way for people to move around in the buildings will be. We have restricted some entrances and exits to be entrance only and exit only so that we can avoid a lot of traffic in those areas. And so students will need to learn in that first few days about how to traverse the buildings now to make it more safe for everyone. We've put up hand sanitizing stations in all of the buildings, on all of the floors, in common areas where people coming into and out of the buildings will be able to sanitize their hands upon doing so. The stairwells as well. Some stairwells are conducive to traffic both ways and some are not, and some you will want to look at the directions on the stairwells to see if it is an up-down staircase or an up-only or a down-only staircase. The auditorium chairs or desks or tables and chairs in any type of classroom setup are being labeled with designated seat signs. And so at a glance, you'll be able to see where the proper seat is. When coming into a building or a classroom, you're going to want to make sure that you're maintaining the 2 meters distance. And so that will just mean taking your time and not rushing. When you come into the classroom, you're going to want to make sure that you're trying to load seats, thinking that you don't want others having to walk past you to get to a seat. Once you're seated in the classroom, use the disinfectant wipe that is provided to wipe down the hard surfaces of that workspace. That would be the desktop in front of you, it could be the arms of the chair or the seat of the chair, anywhere that someone else might have touched.
Not every seat's going to be used by any stretch of the imagination. Students will be spread out. You won't be sitting with your friends directly. You'll be in the same room, but you won't be sitting right side by side with them. You'll be spaced out over the room. So that'll be different and it will feel different. What might be appropriate for a first year course may not be the same for a small group fourth year course. And so faculty have been given the freedom to decide what way they'll be doing it, but it will all be in a safe and healthy environment for students and faculty alike.
When exiting the classroom, students should make sure that they're following out in single file and taking their time, much like you would exit an airplane. So allow the rows in front of you to exit first.
So what we ask is for those of us that can be wearing a mask, that we wear it as much as possible. You'll need to be giving yourself extra time to be getting to where you need to go on campus. You might have been used to congregating as a group outside of a classroom. Those things are going to change now because of the physical distancing, because of the wearing of masks, because of those extra precautions that we're taking around sanitizing our hands and wanting to keep one another safe. The other thing that's going to change is often people would spend long periods of time on campus, gathering in small groups, and those aren't as safe as they used to be. So you're going to notice a quieter campus. You're going to notice things around entrances and exits of buildings that maybe you never thought of before. So when you first come, the door that you always went in is now the door that you're going out of. And those at first can feel strange, can give you a sense that things have really radically changed, and there are some changes, but they're changes that are there to try to keep everybody safe. So we can still be there for one another, even though we might be 2 meters apart, and that's the part that's important. I think when you look at people at Mount A, we are a very caring community, and more than ever, we need that to continue into the fall.
So now that we've seen the video, I want to go in a little further about some face mask shoulds and should nots. I'm going to focus on what should be happening with face masks. So I'm talking about those non-medical ones. They should allow for easy breathing. Breathing should not be difficult when you're wearing a mask. It can be a little different feeling, but once you kind of get used to wearing it, it should be normal breathing. It should fit securely to the head with ties or ear loops. It should maintain its shape after washing and drying it. And it should be changed if it becomes damp or dirty. Be comfortable and not required frequent adjusting. The importance of that is that if you're messing with your mask all the time on the outside, that is the dirty side. So you do not want to be touching that side. That's the side that's the where it's coming in contact with other people's airborne droplets. It should be made of at least a couple layers of some fabric. And there's lots on the market, lots for sale out there for sure. And it should be large enough to completely and comfortably cover your nose and mouth without gaping. Because we do see those folks that are wearing their masks below their chin, and that is not effective, are the ones that are always fully kind of adjusting, and we don't want to see those dangling either. These are all opportunities for kind of cross-contamination of yourself and with other surfaces. Face masks should not be shared with others, as it should not impair your vision or interfere with your tasks. So if it's riding up too high into your eyes or interfering with things and it's not the right size for you, there's different shapes and the way they can be made, and really you need to show how they fit your face. For me, I kind of need to double loop those strings around my ears to make it fit comfortably to my face, and you'll get used to it as you try them on, what feels good on your face. It should be secured with, it should not be secured with tape or other inappropriate material. So you should not see folks walking around with duct tape holding their masks on. That's not appropriate. But it should be made exclusively of materials that don't easily fall apart. So they shouldn't be made of tissues, for example. And it should not be placed on anyone unable to remove them without assistance or anyone who has trouble breathing. So you should be able to maneuver your mask yourself. At the end of this presentation, I'm available to do a demonstration, but I'll kind of walk through it this way: how to put on, use it, take it off, and dispose of a mask. So I'm talking about not a disposable mask here. I'm talking about a non-medical reusable mask. So before putting any type of mask on, any kind, you should always start with washing your hands. That's step number one. And then when you go to put your mask on, you should be taking it with the ties or the straps of how it's fastening. Put it over your mouth and your nose and make sure there are no gaps. Fasten it over your ears or tie those strings. Try not to touch your mask once it's on. You can adjust when the first time you put it on, kind of pinch around your nose to give you a fitting there. But other than that, you should not be fidgeting with the front of your mask. As I said before, it's an opportunity for cross-contamination. I would like to reinforce that you should replace your mask as soon as it's damp or dirty. And when you are removing your mask, you should be removing it from behind, back where those strings are that we talked about, and should not be touching the front. When you are removing it, lots of people don't talk about that, but it's important that you don't just throw it in your pocket or throw it in your purse or throw it in your backpack. It's important to kind of put it in a kind of a clean storage area. So if it's not soiled or wet, you can put it nicely, fold it with the same side material touching one another, and put it in a paper bag or in a Ziploc baggie and zip it to the top. And then you could use it again, but not to put it in a not clean area like purse or pockets or those kind of things. And don't walk around with it hanging off of your ear as well. Those are important things. If it is damp or dirty, it is recommended to wash your masks. And there's lots of literature out there about that. And we really don't want people using very strong detergents or disinfectants to clean your mask, because that's going to be what you're breathing when you're wearing it close to your face. So we really just want you to throw it into your normal laundry with your normal fabric cleanser that you're used to, and make sure it's dried well. Then again, obviously, after we either dispose of it, if it's a one-time use, or put it away and remove it correctly, we always need to wash our hands even after we take our masks off once again. Remember though, this session is focused a lot is on masks, but they alone are not enough around COVID. There's essential. We talk about our process for hand washing, and I know we've heard this on and on again, but we can't reinforce it enough that we kind of wet our hands, apply the soap, at least 20 seconds, wash your hands all over, sing a song, hum a song, count to 10, count to 20, twice, do whatever it takes to kind of make sure you get a really good hand wash lather going there. Rinse well, dry with paper towels, or some type of material that you're going to dispose of, and then don't touch the tap again. If you can help it, use the paper towel to turn it off with. And if you're using blowers, then obviously you're blowing, and you don't want to try not to contaminate yourself after you've washed your hands, and you need to do it often. And remember also to practice social distancing, as that is key to prevent the spread as well. So I just wanted to give some sources, so in case folks wanted to go into more detail and more specific questions about mask wearing or hand sanitizing or social distancing, you can look information up on the Government of New Brunswick website, the World Health Organization, And all COVID-related questions on campus, specifically for Mount A, should be sent to the covid19@mta.ca communication. And I just thank you today for attending. And now I look forward to seeing you at the Q&A in case you have further questions for me regarding mask use.